Is the pain worth the gain? Mastering real estate investing. Hi, I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com. I'm a full-time real estate investor, real estate mentor and coach to many of the most successful real estate investors all across North America. This YouTube channel is #1 for real estate investing in the world. My book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor, is a perennial bestseller, and I have witnessed the development of literally thousands of people who have become real estate investing masters and who haven't. And so I have a perspective that can provide you with some great insight into this question of, is the pain worth the gain? Because in the real world, there's a lot of pain required to get you to a level where you are a real estate investing master. And that's where the majority of the gains come from. If anybody tells you anything otherwise, either A, they're lying, or B, they just don't know what they're talking about. And so we're going to first focus on the pain, then the gain. We'll answer the question if it's worth it. And then I'm also going to share with you a peculiar thing about real estate investing, and that's delayed gratification, which we'll share a little bit later. So first, the pain. There's several different elements, costs, expenses, pain that comes along with becoming a real estate investing master. The first is, and the biggest, is time. We're talking 10 to 15 hours per week, week after week, month after month. If you have a great real estate investing mentor, maybe that becomes a year or two. If you don't have a mentor, 5 to 10 years, maybe longer, especially if you have difficulty learning new things. That's not an exaggeration. That's the real world timing. It's a tremendous amount of time. Now, that doesn't mean you have to lose your family. It doesn't mean you have to sacrifice important things like your health, but you may have to give up certain little things like, I don't know, watching network television, reality TV at night. Maybe it means you have to wake up a little earlier. I know that gets a lot of people upset, but believe it or not, waking up earlier can make you feel better. I've discovered that I don't need as much sleep as I think I do. I'm not saying you don't get any sleep. I'm just saying there's little things you may have to adjust about your schedule. Maybe you don't get to go to all those tailgates and get to party for hours and hours and hours. There's going to have to be changes in your schedule, and this is a huge commitment because time, that's the one thing that we're not making any more of. It's the one thing that we do have control over, but once we've used it, we've used it. So time is a big commitment, but there's more. There's money. And when I mean money, specifically cash out of your pocket, thousands and thousands of dollars minimum. And that's to put yourself in a position to do the right deals. There's the cost of education. There's the cost of everything in between to make sure that you actually get to a point where you're doing deals and making money. Now, you could do some deals, use the profits from those deals to go back into more of your education. So some of it's cash literally out of your pocket. Some might be in the earnings that you have to reinvest back into yourself and into your business. But that's real cash. And that's not the biggest expense money-wise. The biggest is what we call opportunity cost. Those are all the deals that didn't go as planned, that things fell apart. You should have closed, but you didn't. That's where you can lose enormous amounts of money, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The majority of people will lose in what we call opportunity costs, deals that should have closed but didn't. But they were learning lessons. Now, you can reduce those enormously with a mentor, but even still, if you're working with a mentor like me, I'm going to share in the profits with you, so there's still going to be an opportunity cost. And for me, it's half the profits. Although my argument is 50% of something's a whole lot more than 100% of nothing. But there's more cost, there's more pain. Ready for this? Mental. Henry Ford said, thinking is the hardest work there is. That's why so few people do it. Thinking meaning you have got to use your brain, you've got to learn. There's a lot that goes into learning how to be a successful real estate investor. Now, if you're young and you're just getting out of high school, just getting out of college, that might be slightly easier because you've already been using your brain. But if you haven't been using your brain in a while, that can be exhausting. So there's the cost of using your brain. But then there's also the emotional roller coaster you have to go through in the ups and downs of deals that do well and deals that fall apart. And you're going to have to go through that too. Now again, with the mentor, there's a little bit less of that, but that's one thing that even the greatest mentor in the world can't shield from you, and that is the ups and the downs and the emotional roller coaster. Now, once you reach the level of mastery, the roller coaster goes away because you already expect it. Mentally, you've already been using your brain so much, you're in good shape. You've already paid your dues on the education. So now you get the money rolling in, and so that's the gains. So we've talked about the pain, and that was the time, the money, both cash out of your pocket and opportunity costs, your brain work, mental work, and then the emotional roller coaster. And that's exhausting, the emotional side. But now we get to the gain. What are the gains of becoming a master in real estate? Freedom. I'm in Hawaii right now. Behind me is the west side of Oahu, where I'm going to be surfing here in a minute, and I'm going to take you along with me. So the gains are freedom. And for each person, that's going to be different. You may not want to come to Hawaii with your freedom. But what is your goal? What is your dreams? That's part of it. And it's not just your own personal freedom. It's all the other people in your life that this affects. Your family. Those that are less fortunate that you want to help. I brought my family along here on this trip to Hawaii. Think of all the people you can help. You've seen my videos where I'm on a board of directors for a foundation that serves the homeless. So when you do have this level of freedom that comes from being a master in real estate, you get the gain of being able to not only help yourself, but help others. And you know what? We don't have to belabor the gains because you already know what they are to some degree. Maybe not fully, but you know to some degree. All right, so is it worth it? That's the main question in this video. And every single person I've ever worked with, I've ever met, I've ever talked to that has mastered real estate, listen carefully, every single one has said it's absolutely worth it. They do it over and over and over again if they could. Why is it worth it though? Yes, because of the freedom. Yes, because of the choices. But it's more. Let's recount the pain just a moment ago. The money, the time, the emotional. You're already going to spend that time somewhere. And I'm talking about removing that part of your schedule that's not all that necessary anyways, like watching network television. So you're already going to spend the time. Whether you spend it on mastering real estate or anything else, you're still going to spend it. Number two, the money. You're going to spend that too. And as far as opportunity costs, well, that money was never in your pocket anyways. So the fact that you lost it on deals that didn't close, well, does that really hurt you? Right? And then the emotional roller coaster. I got news for you if you're young. You're going to already go through emotional roller coasters in your life. Welcome to life. So you're already going to be spending, or you're already going to be going through much of that pain. So the argument here is that it's absolutely worth it because you're going to have to go through that anyways. You might as well redirect it to something that's going to serve you the rest of your life. Make sense? Well, there's a caveat. Sorry. The caveat's this. Delayed gratification. Are you the kind of person that can deal with delayed gratification? Even when you master real estate, you still have to deal with delayed gratification. These days, as sharp as I am on real estate, the work I do, I typically don't get rewarded for about 3 to 4 months when the deal closes. Sometimes longer if it's a long-term hold or rental. So you've got that issue. Now, if you're first getting started, you have a completely different delayed gratification, and that is potentially 6 months, year, 2 years before you really start to experience the gains and the joy of all this. So if you're the kind of person that needs a pat on the back as soon as you do anything, real estate just may not be for you. But the beautiful thing about real estate is it'll always be here. So if you put forth that effort, if you go through that pain, there's always a rainbow at the end of that rainstorm. Always. Why? Because real estate will always be here. People will always need a place to live. They're not making any more land except for maybe in Dubai when they take the bulldozers and they push the sand out into the ocean, but for the most part, they're not making any more land. Delayed gratification. You have to be willing to enjoy the fruits of your labors months or years into the future for this thing to work and for it to be worth it to you. Because if you need instant gratification, real estate will never work for you. All right, well, if you'd like to go with me into another experience of delayed gratification, learning to surf, which took me literally years to get it right. I had several different mentors and watched all kinds of videos and trainings and everything in between. I'm now at a level where I can purely enjoy surfing. And here in Hawaii, of course, it's just a wonderful place to surf, better than any place else I've ever surfed. I understand now why they invented surfing here. Come with me, we'll do a little bit of surfing.
Mele Kalikimaka is a thing to say on a bright Hawaiian Christmas day. That's the island greeting that we send to you from the land where palm trees sway. Here we know that Christmas will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night. Mele Kalikimaka is Hawaii's way to say Merry Christmas to you.
Aloha, Mele Kalikimaka, everyone.